our goal is to basically have you do some activities, some hands-on stuff that helps you understand the concept. But then, like I said, the lecture part, the reading and all of that is happening on your own time. You do have assignments that are available to you in D2L. So you will have weekly assignments, you will have some discussion posts, surveys and those kind of things in D2L. But then you also have the homework, quiz and exam component for this class, which is what we are doing through My Lab Statistics or My Stat Lab, depending on what you've heard. So that's a homework program that we are using. So like I said, that's where you will be doing your homeworks, quizzes and exams in, and then you have the discussion part, the activity and the surveys, which will be in the D2L portion. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you in regards to this course. Let me share my screen here with you. Okay, so we'll go over the course shell, and then I wanted to point out some important things from the course syllabus also. And so hopefully we'll have time to look over those. Okay, so as soon as you get into your course shell, and hopefully this is kind of what your course shell also looks like once you get in. I've tried to put this in student mode, so hopefully it will look familiar. So you can see, you have your announcements. So your announcements will be popping up, during the week over here. I'll send you reminders about assignments, if anything is going on, those kind of things. I'll try to put them in announcements over here. I might also send them as email. If your course has been set up in this manner, you should see the little calendar widget right here on the right-hand side of the screen. So it's kind of showing you what the activities are due and, when they are due kind of thing. So you should be able to see all of those. Now, mainly, you will be working under content. And then, like I said, you also have assignments, discussions, and surveys. But I have included all of those links in the content area also. So hopefully you can access them from here as well. So you want to go under course information. As you can see, I'm mentioning you to start here. So you will see under your course information, I've included some different things in here. So let me see, did it take me away from the student mode? Looks like it. Okay, so as a student, let's take a look. There we go. So this is what you will see under course information. So getting started is just, I lined up, and I think I mentioned this in the email I sent out also, just the first few things you want to do when you get into the course. So just what you need to do as you get started. Of course, read through the syllabus, make sure you understand all the different course requirements that you have, working with My Lab Statistics to get your homework, quizzes, and exams done. One thing I would definitely recommend you to do is to forward your D2L email, which this is what we are in right now, is D2L, to forward your D2L email address to your ames.edu, which is your Gmail-based address. So that way, you're not having to look at two different emails to check, because you don't get notifications or anything letting you know you've received emails in D2L. And so if you sync your two email accounts, then you just have to go to that one email address and all your emails will be right there. So I would definitely recommend you guys to do that. And it's really easy to access that. All you have to do is click on your name and go under account settings. So if you go under account settings, right here, you want to go to the email tab right over here. And as you go to the email tab, just scroll down and you will see the forwarding options and just enter your ames.edu email address in there. Select whichever setting you want from the bottom and then save and close. So it literally, like 2 or 3 steps is all you need to do that. So make sure you forward your email address. The other thing that I require, and I noticed that most of you had done that, is to accept the remind.com invitation, because it actually is a lot easier sometimes to send you a quick reminder instead of typing up a whole email about it. I can send kind of like we do with Twitter, just send a small reminder saying, hey, this assignment is coming up, don't miss your deadline. make sure you turn it in before it's due. So that's what remind.com does. It will send you reminders to your cell phone if that's how you've set it up. But just keep in mind that they don't share the program does not share your cell phone numbers with me or anything. All I see is your name, and I know that you're in my class. So don't worry about, those kind of privacy issues, because remind.com was designed for this purpose. So just make sure, if you have not signed up for it yet, do that. And then, of course, then you're ready to start with your week 1 assignments. And then I've just listed some expectations for this course. So something I do want to point out to all of you is, this is an 8-week course. Now, a regular fall or spring class is 16 weeks. And so as you can imagine, we're condensing that content down into 8 weeks. So the first 3 weeks, we'll start out with just 1 chapter. So, we're doing chapter 1 this week, chapter 2 next week, chapter 3 the week after that. But after we are done with chapter 3, because the next few chapters are smaller chapters, we actually combine them together. So we will be doing chapters 5 and 6 together, 7 and 8 together, 9 and 10, and then I have combined 11 and 4. So chapter 4 actually comes at the very end. We skip over it at the beginning here. And so just kind of keep that in mind, that you will need to spend a good amount of time, in this course. It will take a big time commitment from you. So if that is something that you are not sure about, if you think you have a lot going on and you will not be able to give the time that you need to this course, then, it's okay to think about withdrawing from the class and, starting over again, maybe in the fall semester. So don't feel bad if you are unable to keep up with the class and you feel like, maybe I can do better in a longer course than the shorter one. So just kind of keep that in mind as you look through your assignments. I have included the drop date in your course syllabus, so you can take a look at that, which is also going to be under this course information section over here. I've included some instructor information. Here's your course syllabus. And we'll be going over that here in a minute. I've included the link for our Zoom classroom meetings. So if you are ever in doubt where to find it, you can always find it here under course information. I've included the link for your remind.com notifications. If anybody has not signed up for it, just click on that link and it will take you to through the steps, for signing up for the class. You've got your D2L forwarding instructions if you want to forward your D2L email. I already kind of showed it to you, but you also have like different screenshots leading you to that same path. So that's also information over here. And what I like to do, which you guys will also be working on, is just talk about, if you've taken an online class before, what tips would you, share with your classmates. So I've had some of my previous classes do that. So that's information that's available in here. Some other information just to kind of help you with different guidelines. But I did want to point out that underneath that, you will see there's the section for math tutoring. So you can check the tutoring options available on campus. You can see there are different links included in here. So we do have options of tutoring available to you through campus. Of course, I am also available anytime you need help with any content. Another point that I wanted to show you was this additional technology tutorials right at the bottom. And you will see I have actually included a few different videos or links over here, just kind of helping you with Zoom and TechSmith, Nomia. But then also, since we work with Excel or Google Sheets, I have included those links over here also. Towards the end of the course, in the later chapters, we will be using StatCrunch. So I've included a help link for StatCrunch as well. So just, different things for you to be aware of that are available in the course information. My lab statistics is where you will be going for your homework assignments, the homework quizzes and exams. So the first link you will see I have posted is the e-text. So if you wanted to look at the textbook sections, read through the chapters, and it definitely helps you at least familiarize yourself with the content material. So, take some time to go through the chapters, kind of read through the information, look at the examples that your textbook has. And if you click on this little red, the square box on the left-hand side, you will see it says menu. And this is where you will be able to, choose your chapters. So you have, broken down by chapters, and then each chapter is broken down by sections. So that's kind of how you access the textbook. So, this is one of the main reasons why we make your textbook optional, because you do have this e-text version available. So if you have, if you're comfortable with the e-text version, then I wouldn't buy the hard copy, but that's definitely entirely up to you. If you click on, you can go to course home if you just kind of want to see what the home page looks like. But right now, I just want to show you the all assignments link. So right now I have opened up your chapter 1 homework assignments. There's an orientation homework over here, and that's really not for a grade. But the reason why I've included that homework is if you are not familiar with my math lab or my stat lab, then this gives you a quick orientation and just a quick overview of, how to enter answers. If you're working with graphs, kind of how to work through with graphs and stuff like that. So just a basic, very small section, orientation homework to kind of help you, get used to my stat lab. And then you will see you've got your 5 homework sections, 2 different quizzes, and then your chapter exam. Now, and you will see this in the course syllabus, but basically you will see there are these green flags next to the quizzes and the chapter exam. And that's because you have to get 90% on all 5 of these homework sections before your quizzes or chapter exam will open up. So that's what those green flags are for. Additionally, your chapter exam is going to be password protected. So you will need to send me an email requesting the password for your exam. And you will do that for every exam. So, every week when you're getting ready to take the exam, and you can send me that email in advance. You don't have to wait till you are actually sitting down to take the exam, because, I may not be available at that time. So just whenever you get a chance, send me the email requesting for your password for, chapter 1 exam this week, and I'll send you your passwords. So just make sure, you keep that in mind. Don't wait till the last minute to request for your passwords. Like I said, especially during the weekends, I may not be available. So, don't wait till the last minute. So there's all kinds of links over here. You can see there's a link for StatCrunch. If you just kind of, want to look around and see what it looks like. You also have access to your grade book. So if you wanted to see your progress, and this will only be for you, so you won't be able to see other students' grades, just your own. You've got study plan if you want to do some extra practice. There's also a multimedia library that's available to you. And this is where you can see, you can select, whichever chapter you are working on, if you want to do it by chapter or specific section. And then you can see, do you want a video, PowerPoint? Do you want to do some other test prep stuff? And, just all kinds of different things are available to you in the multimedia library. So all of this is underneath the My Lab statistics module. Okay. Week 0, really, there's not much. This is just the orientation to AIMS online. Again, if that's something you haven't done before, you should definitely try and work through this. Just take a look at that. You will be, of course, looking at week 1, which is what you are starting with this week or today. So week 1 is where we get into introductions and chapter 1. You can see I have put a list of all the things you need to do for this week. So you have your activities list over here. If you go down, we've got our interactive session, which is what we are in right now. The live weekly session actually also gives you Zoom links. So if you click on that, you can actually get to your Zoom meetings from here also. So each week we'll have this link available in it. And in this section is where I will actually be posting the recordings from our weekly section. So it will be right here under this interactive session submodule. You can see you have your reading and viewing material. So this is where you have linked to your textbook. And then I have created handouts in the past So I've actually gone ahead and made those accessible for you. So you can actually look through the handouts also. For more information, there are other examples in the handout. So you can look through those examples to get, again, a better understanding of these concepts. And then I have recorded video lectures also, and those are what you will have available under view. So some of these are created by me, and then some of these are taken from other channels. So this is a really great YouTube channel called Crash Course, and they have these amazing videos on statistics. So that is where these two videos are coming from. So definitely look through them. It gives you a good overview on statistics, the terminology, makes you familiar with the different terms that you will be using. So that's going to be under materials. And then you will see at the bottom is where your learning activities are listed. So the first thing you are working on is this week's discussion post. So this is just an introductory post so you can get to know your classmates. Then you are doing an M&M sampling example. So this is where, you will be displaying how you have understood the different sampling techniques, which is something you will be reading about in chapter 1. And then, each week you will have sort of an end of week survey just to kind of get an idea from you, what you are going through with the class. You have any suggestions, anything, you would like me to know about it. So just keep in mind with these discussion posts, you do have two different deadlines. It doesn't show you on that page, but once you get into the discussion prompt, you will see. So everybody has to make their initial post by Tuesday midnight. So that's tomorrow midnight. You have to make your initial post. Once all of the students have made their initial post, then you start replying to your peer posts. So you will start replying to, other students, kind of getting to know them. And I've given you some suggested questions, but, of course you can interact with students as you please. Just make sure, they're not just one word interactions. They've got to be, good full sentences, paragraphs, at least tiny paragraphs that you are sharing with your students, classmates. So that's going to be due on Thursday. So you have two different deadlines for these discussion posts. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I'm really happy to see we've already got 2 posts in there. Those of you who have, not looked through this, just make sure you read through everything and make sure you're aware of all those requirements. So this is kind of what your each week is going to look like. You will have some activities here in D2L, and then you will have some activities through your MyLab statistics, and you will find that as your second link over here in this course. So that's just a quick overview of what your course will look like in D2L. Now, I also wanted to kind of just walk you through our course syllabus over here. So this one looks a little bit different because I have, made this in Word and then saved it as a PDF. If you look through your course syllabus in D2L, we actually created like a web page. So it's going to look somewhat similar, but the content is the same. It just looks a little bit more colorful, I guess. So basically what you have here at the top is just your class information. So, course number, this is a guaranteed transfer course. So you can transfer this to any 2-year or 4-year college in Colorado. So, if you ever end up transferring to a different institution, you can do that. So I've also included our Zoom classroom meeting link in our course syllabus also. And as you will see, this is also included here in the D2L course syllabus also. So all of these links are active in your D2L syllabus. We meet on Mondays, so we will meet every Monday, 11:45 to 12:45, with the exception, we do not meet on July 5th. So because, Independence Day is falling on a Sunday, we are actually using that following Monday as the holiday observance for Independence Day. So July 5th, just kind of keep in mind, college will be closed. So even on-campus activities and everything will be closed. So we are also technically closed. So we're not meeting on July 5th, but we will be meeting all of the other Mondays. I do prefer to be addressed as Ms. Daruka. I've included both my email addresses over here, but I have, as you saw, I have actually forwarded both of them to my ames.edu. So it doesn't matter where you email me, it always comes to this ames.edu email address. So since I'm not working from campus this semester, I'm working remotely. I'm not going to be in my office, but you do have access to my phone number. If you need to meet with me outside of class time, we can set that up as an appointment. So I don't have officially any office hours, but I am available to meet with you if you need to talk to me. I have included your drop deadline and the withdrawal deadline. So you can see June 22nd, which would be what, next week on Tuesday? Yeah. So next week by Tuesday is your drop deadline. And then next month, you will have the withdrawal deadline. If you just wanted to see the different dates, important dates and stuff, you have your link to the academic calendar here, link to other student services that you can kind of look through. And then just the information about your class. The textbook that we are using is called Fundamental of Statistics by Sullivan. It's a Pearson textbook. That's why we're using the MyStatLab as our homework program. You can use scientific calculator. Honestly, guys, since you are at home right now, the math department has a policy of no graphing calculators, but I'm okay if you use graphing calculators. So if that's what you have access to, that's fine. We're not going to be strict about that. You also have your standard syllabus link over here. So, because there's so many different other things that they want us to include in the syllabus, it's not possible to do it in these documents. I mean, this is already an 8-page document. If we included that, this would go into 30, 40 pages. So that's why we do these links. So just make sure you look through those standard syllabus items, the different policies, and just make sure you're aware of them. Your course description. So, of course, this is an introductory statistics course, so we don't get too deep into the concepts, but we definitely spend a good amount of time talking about statistics and probability. So we'll be doing descriptive and inferential statistics, basically, talking about how to use statistics in the best way possible, because as you will see, one of the videos talks about how statistics can be misused. So it's really important to kind of have those skills, the critical thinking and trying to make an educated guess if this information is being used correctly or not. We will spend time, you will see starting from chapter 2 is where we start getting into data collection and then presentation, summarization, how to present your data once you have collected it and gathered some information from it. Like I said, we'll also get into probabilities. We will talk about probability distribution. So like normal distribution, we'll get into Chebyshev's theorem, binomial distribution. So we'll do some of those discussions in the kind of towards the middle of the course. And then towards the end, we'll be getting into the statistical inferences for 1 and 2 population. So, a lot of information that can be used in practical life, just depending on, what path you guys end up taking. So you've got your course learning outcomes over here. We'll definitely be going over everything that is required. So as you can see, we've broken those topics down, further into subtopics just to kind of break down, what different things we will be talking about. And then the recommended stuff, we go over if we have time. So I will be doing a couple things from the recommended, but not all of them, just because we honestly don't have that much time to do the required and the recommended stuff. Just your state general learning outcomes, if you kind of want to look through, what those are. Ames also has their own common learning outcomes that apply to our classes. So you've got all that information there. What I wanted to focus on was some of the class policies. So let's talk about attendance. So since we meet, every week, with the exception of that one day for a holiday, I do expect you to be here because you will gain a lot of information. It also gives you a chance to ask me questions. If you didn't send me an email or we didn't set up an individual one-on-one time, it definitely gives you a chance to ask me questions also. But like I said, we'll be doing some hands-on activities to help you understand the concepts a little bit better. But for any reason, if you will be missing class, email me, let me know what's going on, why you can't be there. And then, as I said, I will be recording the lectures, so those lectures will be available in D2L, so you can watch them also. But additionally, I will be doing activities for those students who are not able to attend. So like you will see for today's session, I have an asynchronous activity for students to turn in, which is going to be on sampling techniques. So if you're not going to be attending class, then there will be an activity you will have to submit in lieu of attending class. So just kind of keep that in mind. There will be some other stuff you will have to do if you don't attend class. Some things that I just want to be aware of is, I know when we are in remote settings, it's obviously very different than when we are in a classroom. So I have noticed just over, this past year that we've been teaching remotely, when students are lying in bed, they're not paying attention. And what happens is most of the time you'll fall asleep if you're lying in bed. I mean, that happens to all of us, right? I've had students trying to drive or be in a vehicle and trying to attend class, which that's not safe if you are the one driving. So I don't recommend that at all. And if you're at work, then you should not be taking the class if you're not able to set aside, like we are a 1-hour meeting session, if you cannot set aside that time. So any of these activities that will distract you or that will interfere in your attendance, then that cannot be counted as an attendance. So, it's kind of the same idea if you were in a classroom. You would be sitting there paying attention, and that's the same thing I expect from a remote class also. So, just kind of keep that in mind. I would definitely recommend, if you can stay off your cell phone for that 1 hour. If it's something really urgent and you didn't know what's going to happen and you need to answer your phone, that's different. But for the most part, try not to be on your phone, because again, if you're on your phone, you're distracted. So that doesn't count as attendance. So if that's going to be an issue where you are unable to pay attention, unable to be in class for that 1 hour, then the recommendation is, go ahead and drop this class. You can do a completely online course if that's what you are more comfortable with. Or if you are more of an in-person preference, then you can do, a regular 16-week class in the fall semester. So just be aware that, I do take your attendance very seriously. So just make sure you are not being distracted, or nothing else is interfering with your work while you're in class. Definitely, if for any reason you fall asleep, I will remove you from the meeting, but again, it does not count as an attendance because you were asleep in class. So just kind of be aware of some of those things. As you guys signed up for your Zoom classroom, it would have asked you to register, but it should only do that for the first class, just to make sure, you're an AIM student and we were able to get you in, but you should not have to register anymore. I do require you to keep your video, your cameras turned on your faces, not, facing a ceiling or a wall or a window. Because again, I take it in the same way as if we were in a classroom, I'd be able to look at you. And I keep my little, window open with all of you there. So it kind of helps me especially when we start doing those activities, it really helps me to see if you're understanding, if you are lost. So your face expressions can tell me a lot. So just kind of keep that in mind, don't be in a dark room where I cannot see you. So going forward, you can enter the class, for the first 10 minutes. So since we start at 11:45 to 11:55, you will be, I guess basically on time. If you are late by more than 10 minutes, then I actually don't allow you to get into the classroom. So you have those first 10 minutes to get into the class. But if you are later than 10 minutes, then I don't allow you to get in. If something is going on and you email me in advance, then that's different, because you've told me what's going on and why you will be late. I will allow you to get in. But if you don't tell me, I have no idea, then more than 10 minutes, you do not join the class. Again, just your password. I don't know if it asked you for a password today or not, but if it does, it's math135. I will try to reply to your emails within 24 hours, during business hours. Just keep in mind, summer weekdays are shorter. We are only working Mondays through Thursdays because we do, 10-hour work days, 4 days a week. So Ames itself, the whole college closes on Fridays. So we are closed on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays during the summer session. But I will try to keep checking my email as and when I can, but just keep in mind, if anything is important, try to get a hold of me during those weekdays. Your grading scale is pretty standard for this class. As you can see, we go from 90 to 100 for an A grade, 80 to 89 is a B, 70, 79 is a C, 60, 69 is a D. Anything below 60% is failing. Having said that, technically for Ames, D is a passing grade because you are between 60 to 69%. But, most of you are probably taking this class for a program, it's part of your course requirement, or if you are planning on transferring somewhere else, you probably need this course for, one of your programs or whatever you are doing. So those courses, those programs may have their own restriction. And that would be something you will need to find out, because some of them may only accept an A or a B grade. Some of them may be okay with a C. If you are going to be transferring to another institute, again, you have to see their requirements. Usually a D grade does not transfer, and a D grade is not acceptable for any program. So like I said, you may want to find out specific to your own situation, but mostly we are always looking for C or a higher grade. And like I said, if you are in one of those specific programs that need an A or a B, then that would be something you would kind of have to figure out. The breakdown for your grades, your homeworks and quizzes, which are going to be in my stat lab, and then the other assignments are, your discussion boards, the activities that you are doing in D2L, those are what I'm putting under other assignments. The chapter exams are going to be 50%. Final exam itself is 20%. So you can see that's how this adds up to 100% of your grade. I've already talked about my stat lab, which is where you will be doing your homework, quizzes, and exams. As I was mentioning when we were under my stat lab, you need to get 90% on each homework section before the quizzes and the exams for those chapters will open up. So right now you're working in chapter 1. All 5 of those chapter 1 sections should have 90% before those 2 quizzes and the exam will open up. If you don't get that 90% minimum grade, you will not be able to do the quiz and the exam. And just one thing to kind of let you guys know, all those homework questions that you have in each homework section, those same homework questions are what I use to create your quizzes and your exam. So on your quiz and your exam, you will already have seen those questions as part of your homework. So there will be no surprises in your quizzes and exams. Every single question is something you will have already worked on in your homework. So, that kind of helps you tie everything together, and you're not going to be seeing anything new in those assessments. So again, for your quizzes, same thing. If you don't have that 90% on the homework, the quiz will not open, which of course means then, you'll end up getting a 0 on the quiz. So just kind of keep that in mind. Chapter exams here, again, same requirement with that 90% on the homework section. So make sure you have 90% on those homeworks. When you are taking the exam, please make sure you're taking it alone in a room. There's nobody else there with you, because again, we want to maintain that integrity of, the examination. Honestly, since you guys are again doing this as an online course, you can use your notes, handouts, books if you want, but just make sure it's only those resources that I am making available to you. So, handouts, textbook pages, the video lectures that I have posted in D2L, you can use those, but beyond that, you don't want to use anything else for help. And, it's got to be your own work, because, if it's not your own work, you move forward, you will have no idea what you have turned in, what you have done. So, I guess that's something you got to think about. But for any reason, we do realize that you have turned in work which is not your own. That can lead to academic dishonesty, and that can lead to suspension or whatever action Ames decides to take. So just be Very, very careful about that. Make sure you're turning in your own work. Again, guys, make sure you have 90% on those homework sections before you can take the exam. As I also mentioned, your exams will be password protected, and you will need to send me an email to request for your password. So don't forget about that. Your comprehensive final exam, comprehensive means, it's going to be everything from the first day to the last day. So everything you learn from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 11. This exam is actually broken up into 2 parts. You have an in-class portion and you have a take-home portion. So the in-class is what we will be doing, during this 1 hour of our class time. So it's going to be a smaller exam. We're going to be doing that on August 9th. And that exam is no exception. You cannot do it on your own. It has to be, on Zoom with me in class, basically. So just kind of keep that in mind. The last day of our class will be our final exam day. And then the take home, you will basically have that Monday and Tuesday to work on the take home exam. So you can, pick whenever you want to work on it between those 2 days. So again, when you're taking the final exam, same thing, you want to make sure you are all by yourself in the room. There's nobody else with you, and all the work you turn in is your own work. And again, you do have that 90% requirement on your homework grades to take the final exam also. Like I said, the department policy is for scientific calculators, but I'm okay if you want to use graphing calculators. Definitely don't recommend, any smart devices as a calculator, because you have all those different functions and stuff that you need for your statistics courses. So a scientific or graphing would be a lot easier to use. I've listed your dates for the chapter exams. Now remember, the chapter exam basically means that whole chapter assignments are due that same day. So, all of your homework, quizzes, and exam for chapter 1 are due on June 21st. Every homework, quiz, and chapter exam for 2 is due on June 28th. So it's not just the exam, but all the, related assignments with that. So you can see all your different due dates over here. If you want to get a little bit more detailed information on academic and excellence, integrity, academic dishonesty, and everything like that related with student code of conduct, you can find that over here. One thing I will tell you guys, as you can see, we do have a lot of material to cover. I mean, we are going from chapter 1 to chapter 11. Some of these we may not be doing all the sections from each chapter, but you still have at least 4 or 5 different homework sections each week with quizzes and exams. So you definitely want to try and stay on top of things, because if you fall behind, catching up can be very hard. And this class is just one of those classes where we don't have a lot of room for extensions or extra time, anything like that. So try to stay on schedule, meet those deadlines. Don't mess up with those deadlines, because once you start falling behind, it's going to get really, really overwhelming, and it will get to a point that you will not be able to catch up, and you will either end up withdrawing from the course, or unfortunately some students end up failing because they don't withdraw. And I'm sure there's a reason for that, but then if you haven't done the work, then you just end up failing the course. So just be mindful of not getting yourself in that situation. So work on your homeworks. Anytime you don't understand anything, ask me for help, ask me questions. When we are in our synchronous sessions, try and participate as much as you can. So that kind of lets me know, are you understanding the material? Since a lot of this you will be doing on your own, it really helps me understand how you are doing with the content, and are you understanding the concepts and that sort of thing. And then I've got some more information in here that you can kind of look over, just go through. And then just a very basic course schedule, again, to just kind of let you know the weeks where you will be working on the different chapters. So again, just to hopefully kind of keep you on track with the different material that we have available. So I know I kind of went through that quickly, but I wanted to see if anything kind of jumped out at you, and if you had any questions about the different classroom policies or anything like that. Anything coming to mind right now?
I had a question about the exams.
Sure.
So I know 50% of our grade is based on the written exams. Is that all in the stats lab software?
Yeah, so I call it written exams because when we
Okay.
were on campus, we were actually doing paper and pencil exams.
Mhm.
But since we went remote, yeah, those exams have actually moved to my stat lab. So yeah, they are actually online exams. They're not written exams anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice. Any other questions, guys? All right, so let me talk about the activities you are working on this week. Okay, let me see, something just popped up.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for the exams, before we get that pass code, we need to make sure we have all our assignments with an ID done before we can request it, right? We cannot request it.
No. Request the password as soon as you remember to request the password. So even if you don't have the 90% grade, just request the password. Because if you, let's say, you work on the weekend and that's when you are ready to take your exam, but if I'm not available, then I don't want you to get stuck not having the password. So that's why just request your password whenever you're ready for it. Even if you don't have the 90% on the homework, but like Thursday night or Friday I'm going to be taking my exam and I just want to have the password ready with me before I take the exam. So yeah, please don't wait till you finish getting 90% on your assignments. Just request it whenever you like. Even right now you can request it right now. Just shoot me an email and that's fine. So Riley, you sent an email about, can I explain about the exams a little bit? Will we have access to them whenever we are ready, or the Monday it's due? So it's actually open, like your chapter 1 exam is open right now and it will stay open till midnight on June 21st. But then it will close. Everything from chapter 1 will close on June 21st. So yeah, you just whenever, so if you get your home, because chapter 1 actually is more about terminology, so there's no calculations or anything happening in chapter 1. It's literally just trying to get you aware of the different statistical terms, what they mean, how they are used. So it's actually going to be a lot more reading than calculations in chapter 1. So if you get through all of your homework in the next couple days and you're ready to take the exam on, let's say, Wednesday, it's available to you. So just make sure you send me that email for your password before you take the exam, so you have it ready for you. Does that help, Riley? Yeah. All right, wonderful. So one of the activities that we will be doing this week, outside of the discussion board, where we talked about how you will be introducing yourself to me and your classmates, you actually have this M&M sampling activity that you will be doing. So I just kind of wanted to go over this a little bit with you. So you will need to buy M&Ms for this unless you have some laying around your house. If you're not a big fan of M&Ms, get creative, find something else. You can do other types of candies like Skittles, jelly beans. If you are into, mixed nuts like almonds and cashews, and you get those packages, you can do something like that. You can do cereal where you have something like Lucky Charms, where you have a lot of different components to it. I think I had one student do it with, oh lordy, I can't remember. It was like a colorful cereal with multiple different colors in it. Fruit Loops, maybe, I'm not sure. He had used some other kind of cereal. So anything that is a mix of different things where you can have different colors or different shapes, different sizes. You can, even if you are one of those people who throws your change into a jar, so if you have all kinds of different pennies and dimes and nickels, quarters, whatever may be in there, you can use that as your sample, to do your sampling with. So get creative if you don't want to use M&Ms. But basically the idea is you have to try and experiment and see how the different sampling techniques work and how your sample will end up looking like. So, just imagine if you have a bowl of M&Ms, you empty a couple of those fun size packets in there, that's going to be your population. So whatever number of M&Ms you collect, that's your population. Now, from that population, you want to gather your sample. So you are looking at 5 different sampling techniques. So there's random sampling. Random sampling, you can use a table or a random number generator. So I have mentioned random.org that you can use to help you out with that. So that kind of helps you pick up numbers, right? So you can kind of arrange your M&Ms in a rectangular format. And if your random number generator says number 5, so you go pick the number 5 M&M. It says number 29, you go pick the number 29 M&M. So it really kind of helps if you arrange your M&Ms in a grid. Then you have your convenience sampling. Convenience sampling would literally be you just put your hand inside the bowl and pick up whatever candy comes into your hand, right? Because that was the easiest thing to do. You've got systematic sampling. Systematic sampling kind of works like, again, let's say you've arranged your M&Ms in a rectangular grid. You use the random number generator, so it gave you number 6. So you started with the 6th candy. There's a little calculation that's involved in systematic sampling, and I'll let you guys do that based on your numbers. But then you can pick like every 3rd candy. So you start with the number 6 candy, but then you pick up every 3rd one after that, right? So just keep counting 3s as you move forward. So that would be systematic sampling. You've got cluster sampling. You've got, what's that other one? Cluster. Oh, that name just completely skipped my mind. Oh, give me a second here. Stratified, that's what I was looking for. So you can see I have that, mentioned over here. So we've got random, systematic, stratified, and cluster. Stratified and cluster are very similar, but their approaches are different. Cluster sampling is where you can distribute them into different groups. So you kind of create subgroups. You can do by color. You can do by perfect M on the M&Ms, and you know how some of them are not printed completely, but some have the whole M on it. You can break it up into those kind. Sometimes I will do like, perfect circular M&Ms, and then some of them might have like that extra sugar candy coating on them. So they may have like a little bump on them. So you can kind of break it up by shape. So however you want to do your clusters, your grouping, you can do that. Now, what happens with cluster and stratified? Cluster, you end up taking the entire cluster. So, if you did by the perfect shape, then every candy that you have in that little subgroup, you will take all of that. And you can do 2 or 3 different subgroups if you like. Stratified, what happens is after you have broken them up into different groups, from each group, you have to pick a sample. So, if you've done by the colors, so all those different colors you have from each color group, you will be picking like 2 or 3 candies or 5 candies. Again, it will depend on what your sample size is, what your population size is. So stratified means from each group, you pick the candy. Cluster is you're picking up the entire cluster. So instead of going from each group, you would say, okay, I'm going to pick 2 colors, and that's your cluster. You pick both of them up. And, it would really help if you would read through the different definitions and different examples in the textbook to understand how these different sampling techniques work. And that's what you will be showing me, that you have understood what each one of these sampling techniques are and how you are using, M&Ms or whatever to show, that this is how the sampling techniques would work. So if you look at the instructions here, you are actually going to be recording a video of yourself while you are doing these experiments, while you are, picking your sample from the population. So you will be recording these videos. Now you can, record them. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can record them with your cell phones. If you have, if you prefer doing it with the laptop, you may kind of have to set your laptop up so I can see you as you are doing the experiment. Keep the video short. Your total entire video for all 5 of these activities should not be longer than 10 minutes. So keep it short, because I just want to see how you picked each of your samples from that population that you had. And you will actually be posting your videos at this link. So I've created a section on Flipgrid for you to post your videos. And I think this might be the page I'm at. So this is kind of what you should be able to see once you get in. And you will see it lets you record a response here. So you can actually record your video using Flipgrid. It lets you record it from here, or you can also upload it from your phone. If you've already recorded it on your phone, you can upload it from there also. So it does give you a little a couple different options how you want to do it. So but this is where you will be posting your videos, and you will also be submitting a typed document. You can use Microsoft Word or you can use Google Docs, because you do have access to Google Docs as a named student. So I've asked you some questions over here, which is what you will be answering. Some of this you may be able to answer in your video, but then I definitely want these answers on your typed document. So I also have some numbers to look at in terms of how you did your sampling and what your sizes ended up looking like. So you can earn up to a maximum of 20 points as everything is on point. You did everything really well, explained your technique, answered all the questions, followed the instructions as I have in there. And then anything in between would be 10 to 19 points. The minimum you can earn is 10 points. And then, of course, if it's going to be nothing, you're basically not addressing the questions, it's not well explained, you didn't do a video, or you didn't turn in your written document, anything that's not done up to par, you're basically looking at 0 points. So definitely expect a professional level of work. Don't turn in anything sloppy or haphazard, because again, this is a statistics course. This is something, if this is what you will be using further on down the line, you have to do this in a certain way. And half kind of work, where you haven't put in the time and the effort, just doesn't count for it. So anything, like I said, is not done properly, you are looking at 0 points for that. So this is kind of what you are looking at with this sampling activity. And you know what, do a couple experimental runs. Do it once without recording the video. Just kind of make sure you are understanding the concept yourself. And it really doesn't take you more than 5 to 7 minutes to get through those 5 sampling techniques once you have understood what you're doing. So maybe do a dry run, make sure you're comfortable with what you are doing, get everything set up, get a couple bowls or plates set out so you can kind of break up your population into different groups and whatnot. And then once you have it down, you're like, okay, now I know what I need to do. Then you can start recording your video, and you can actually get it all done in one single recording instead of, having to stop and play and record kind of thing. So just do maybe a practice run just to get comfortable with, how your video will look like for this M&M sampling. So any question coming to mind in terms of this activity here, guys?
How many bags of M&Ms do you think?
If you're not a fan of the candy, don't buy too many. I would just do, when you're in the checkout line, they have those candies right there. I know,
Yeah.
I know Walmart does. I'm not sure about other stores. I would say grab 1 or 2, not too many. If you have something else laying around your house, like which can kind of substitute for M&Ms, you can use that. Also, just make sure it's got variety in it. Like you don't want to do with Cheerios, because Cheerios is all pretty much one color. I mean, you can probably do good shape and bad shape, but it doesn't give you that much variety. So that's
Right.
why I like M&Ms or Skittles, because it gives you a little bit of variety in there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions coming to mind, guys? And as you start working through that activity and you get stuck on anything or you need more help, don't hesitate to reach out. So remember, tomorrow midnight, your initial post for the discussion is due to getting to know each other. On Thursday, you have the follow-up, peer posts. And then Saturday is when the M&M activity assignment is due. And then following Monday is when the homework, quiz, and exam are due. So basically every second day I've kind of made those deadlines. So yeah, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I will look forward to seeing you guys here next week if you don't have any questions in the meantime. Is everybody doing okay? All right, guys. So let me know if I can help you, and I will see you next Tuesday. So be careful, everyone. Stay safe, and see you on Tuesday. Sorry, Monday. Bye, guys. Be careful.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.